on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on.
So, how's it been going?
How's what been going?
Come on, man. You know what I mean. How have things been with you and Shion?
I had a feeling it was about that. Well, what about things on your end?
No, we're not talking about me. I'd rather hear about you.
I don't really have anything to share on that front.
Don't be like that. You think I can't tell something's been going on?
Look, I'm not the type to go blabbing about that kind of stuff.
Give me a break. Don't keep secrets from me just because you're a little old.
I'm not that old.
I don't know, man. Lately it seems like you start wheezing as soon as we get into a fight.
That's some pretty big talk. You really want to try your luck with me? What were we talking about before?
It was... well, it doesn't really matter now.
What's wrong? Did I hit your head too hard?
No, man, you don't get it. You're really something, Alphen.
What do you mean?
Just you. How you always indulge me and help me work through my jumbled thoughts.
Do I?
Yeah, I always feel better after being with you. Even duking it out just now helped.
There you go again, making me out to be better than I really am.
I'm not making you out to be anything. You can't stop me from admiring you, Alphen.
You've got strange taste then.
I'm fine with that. I hope someday I can be there to lift you up, too.
I don't plan on getting quite that old anytime soon.
We should go again sometime.
We should. I look forward to it.
Let's make sure to kick ass tomorrow, too. You guys ready to hit the road? I know I am. It's from my old man. My dear son, I wonder how things will be between us by the time you read this.
In any case, I first want to congratulate you on all that you've accomplished. Making it this far requires a strong body, fine technique, an unwavering spirit, and most of all, friends that you can count on. If you have all of that, then I, as your father, have nothing to worry about. Those things together will always keep you on the right path. That brings me to what I really wish to discuss with you. As with all of us, there will someday come a time when you'll be a grown man who can and must think and act for himself. Whether you'll live in a world where blood will no longer be spilled between Danins and Renins, or when that day arrives, nobody can say. But even if peace still eludes us then, you'll have to decide how to live in this world. Listen to others with an open heart, but don't be swept away by their words. Always live on your terms. One more thing. If I ever see you again, I hope to say this to you in person, but neither of us knows what tomorrow may bring. Know this. Whatever you think of me, and what I've done, your mother and I love you very, very much.
And there's nothing in this whole world that will ever change that. Your father, Zephyr.
Zephyr.
I can't believe he's only telling me all this after he's gone. What am I supposed to do with this?
Zephyr once told me that living freely meant being your own master. I think he wanted to make sure you know how he felt one way or another. What you do with that knowledge is up to you.
But that still doesn't explain why his father left that letter for him here, of all places.
Don't forget, we were led to this place. We may well get some answers if we go back to the source of all this.
You okay, Law? You seem kind of quiet.
I'm fine. Just feels a little weird returning home now that my dad's not here, I guess. Oh man, sorry. I didn't mean to bum you out too.
So I guess that means you'll be visiting your dad's grave while you're here. Right, Law?
His grave? What are you, nuts? There is no grave. The Rena would only destroy it the moment they found it.
Back before Calaglia was liberated, dead slaves would be dumped in mass burial sites. Either that or thrown on top of a bonfire. We got used to cremating our own to deny them the pleasure. Then we'd sprinkle the ashes from high up as a way of returning them to the motherland.
It's all we could do. That's the ceremony we had when my mom died, too.
But that was back then, right? Calaglia is liberated now. There's nothing to stop you from raising a true grave anymore.
I suppose you've got a point. Once you've been doing something for generations, though, it sort of begins to take root. It's a tradition of its own now.
My dad wouldn't want that anyway. Cheap and simple, he'd say. Besides, I can't treat him differently than my mom. They might not end up meeting on the other side.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Wow, imagine. The two of them reunited, back home where they belong. They're probably watching over us right now, at one with great Dana. There's something almost poetic about it.
That's why I can't afford to screw up. If I know my pops, something as paltry as death won't stop him from coming to box my ears. Still, better than being left alone, I guess. Better than never knowing. You hear that, Dad? I'll make you proud. You'll see.
I'm at a star location, so I'm just gonna record this.
The astral energy here is so dense. It's like trying to walk through water.
I know the Great Spirit's will is in the center of Rena, but with the world in this state, the entire planet has become its body, right? So doesn't that mean we're already inside it?
I would say that is horrifyingly correct. After all, the further we climb, the denser the astral energy becomes.
What's the matter, Rinwell? Are you not feeling all right?
No, it's nothing like that. It just feels like the energy here is a little more intense than it was before.
You mean Rena's energy?
Yeah, it's like when I made contact with Dana's will in the wedge. It's almost as though I can understand what Rena's will is thinking.
But Rena's will is supposed to be a lot stronger. Aren't we risking the Great Spirit controlling us if we interact with it directly?
I don't think we have to worry about that. Rena's will is only supposed to control true Renans, like the Helganquil. If we can discern what the Great Spirit is thinking too, we might learn something, a weakness. But just to be safe, let me contact it alone.
Are you insane? Rinwell, you're gonna...
Linwell!
There was only meant to be one world. And your goal is to make them one. Is this fear? What just happened?
Are you all right? Rinwell? Rinwell, are you okay?
No, I'm fine. I think
What were you thinking? You could have gotten yourself killed!
He's right. You had us all terrified, Rinwell.
I'm sorry. I really, really am. But I know now. I know how the Great Spirit thinks. I know what it wants. How it feels. Rena's Great Spirit wants to complete the world.
What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying it's trying to make something?
Yes, exactly. Originally, Dana and Rena were meant to be one world. But that never happened. They've stayed separated, and the Great Spirit wants to finish the process.
What do you mean, one world? How is that even possible?
I don't know, but its will is clear. That's what the Great Spirit is trying to accomplish. The only problem is that since Rena's energy isn't evenly spread like Dana's, it seems like it'll vanish before that happens naturally.
So it's trying to absorb Dana while it still can, so that it can force the two planets to unite. Is that what you're saying?
The Great Spirit is scared. But it's not scared the way a rational person would be. It's more raw and undiluted. Like just pure fear.
Like an animal, acting out of instinct. Although admittedly, an animal would be easier to communicate with. At the very least, I have my doubts that it recognizes us as sentient beings with a reason for coming here. Earth, water, fire, and wind energy exist in both worlds, but only darkness and light can be found within Rena and Dana, respectively. The Renis Alma, as far as we know, the only host capable of harvesting the astral energy, is composed of all six. Knowing all that, Rinwell's findings do sound plausible.
That sounds a lot like Shion's thorns, doesn't it? The whole reason the Great Spirit is trying to unite Dana and Rena into one world is in order to save itself. And if her thorns are part of the Great Spirit, then they must also be trying to save themselves?
Alphen, what is it?
We thought the only way to free your thorns was for you to die. Yet despite that, they seem to be doing everything in their power to stop that from happening to you. Something wasn't adding up. But then I just realized something. If the Great Spirit doesn't want to die, then neither would your thorns. Those same emotions, that fear, that determination, and its energy must have been the same thing that was keeping you alive. You were its vessel.
In that case, is that why her thorns caused so much pain to anyone who touched her? Because they were trying to protect themselves?
If that's all true, then... well, it's more than a little ironic.
That's actually
The Great
interesting.
Spirit merely expresses its desires. I imagine it was the Helganquil who were likely tasked with putting together and implementing an actual plan.
Shion.
I'm okay. We need to hurry and clean this mess up before it gets out of hand.
Still, even if the current state of the world is wrong like you said, does that really make everything okay?
If the world had been whole from the start, as it should have been, there'd be no Dana and no Rena, no masters or slaves, no lords, no crown contest, maybe just peace.
To think, all this started because of the Great Spirit's desire to keep living. The only reason it craves energy is because it's dying from starvation. When you think about it like that, maybe the things it's done aren't so strange after all.
If Rena had been more like Dana, things would have worked out a whole lot better.
It's like Hevrecht 35 told us. The Danan and Renan spirits are meant to be completely different beings.
Rena's energy amassing in one place led to its developing a powerful will. But that also made it crave energy, sapping Rena dry until it perished.
Whereas Dana's energy is dispersed, meaning its will never developed to the same extent. And without that hunger, Dana the planet was spared.
As for which is correct, well, I'm not sure it's our place to even say. Still, I can't help but think it reminds me a lot of the dichotomy of the human condition.
Dichotomy? What do you mean?
Those who know not satisfaction are driven to keep devouring without limit. But those who are content with their lot in life rarely fulfill their potential. I imagine it's likely that the larger Rena's great spirit grew, the more and more powerful its hunger also became.
Everything in moderation. When all's said and done, maybe that's the hardest thing for people to learn.
Path? I don't see any path.
Do you mean that thing that looks like an animal trail? Path may be a generous term. I'm assuming you know where it leads?
My gut says to a bridge.
Hoodle says your gut's wrong.
Really? Well, it is definitely in the right general direction.
Not that main roads are necessarily danger-free, but he does have an uncanny knack for insisting on some strange and unique routes.
Alphen always did like a challenge. Can't say I appreciate some of the more daredevil ways he's taken us, though.
Like the landslide he insisted was a shortcut before disappearing off the edge? Nearly gave me a heart attack.
I'll say, yet the intrepid explorer looked as happy as a pig in muck.
Probably best we stick to doing our own orienteering in the future.
Hey, so what about this route then?
Maybe if we pretend we can't hear him.
Don't you think the path forward is fraught enough without making extra problems for ourselves? Maybe best to reel it back.
Good point. I say we stick to the main track like regular travelers for once.
Guys? I will break down this wall!
I've been thinking about what we discussed earlier. His reasons might not have been pure, but in the end, Dohalim still made Elda Menancia a place where Danans and Renans can coexist. I thought everyone would welcome that change, with open arms. I took pride in what we had without putting in the work to truly solidify it. After so much failure, do you think I even have the right to pursue my ideals?
It doesn't matter what I think. You've already found your answer, haven't you?
I know what I want to say, but I can't help but wonder if I'm being selfish.
Everybody makes mistakes in life, Kisara. Everybody. It's what you do afterwards that matters. But you already knew that, right?
Yeah. I won't look away from the world any longer. I'll do my best to confront reality, so that we don't lose anyone else, ever again. More to the point, Dohalim needs someone who can push him forward. I think we both get lost in our sorrow too easily when we focus on the past.
If we see that happening, we'll set him straight. Don't worry. We'll look out for both of you. I have to say, though, if you turned out this well modeling yourself after Miguel, he really must have been a great man.
What, you didn't believe me before? I'm pretty sure I've been going on about him since I joined up. If you need more convincing, I've got plenty more stories about him.
Maybe another time.
I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Rise and shine. We're almost ready to leave.
That would be grilled rapig.
What?
Whoa there! What's the big brouhaha?
It's Rapig! How could you cook something with such cute little eyes? What did it ever do to you?
I fail to see what the problem is. Rapigs are perfectly edible creatures. Having said that, I do realize it's become rather rare to eat them lately. What with people increasingly embracing them as pets and companions.
They definitely didn't fall out of fashion to eat because of their flavor, that's for sure.
Agreed. Rapigs have tender, fatty meat. The taste can take some getting used to, but I would argue that's part of its charm.
If the taste is too strong, I imagine you can either just cook it thoroughly or simmer it with some herbs to mask it.
Indeed. At first I wasn't sure whether to smoke it with spices or simmer it in water, but I opted to grill it as is instead.
Seriously, Dohalim? You have the weirdest tastes.
That's probably because when you live the life of a lord, you grow tired of most ordinary cuisine.
So you end up seeking out more unusual food. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, putting aside what it used to be, you've got to admit it does look pretty damn good. Meat is meat, after all.
That reminds me. I do believe I once read in a book about rare delicacies, how one can go about preparing an owl. I suppose I won't have the chance to try it anytime soon.
Not with Hoodle, you won't!
Isara, let's talk for a bit. Thinking some more about how to realize your ideals?
No. Actually, I've been trying not to obsess about it as much as before. I find when I think too much about my ideals, I get hung up on the reality of things and lose sight of what's really important. I know what it's like to go hungry, to lose your family. That should be reason enough to fight for a better society, so nobody else has to. Sorry about that.
Even thinking about things will make you hungry after a while. You wait here. I'll go whip something up for you.
Thanks for the food.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Just impressed at how good of a cook you've become.
Well, we've been on this journey for a while now, so I've had more than a few opportunities to hone my skills.
Yeah, and now I have a good meal in me. There's a simple kind of happiness that comes with that, you know? One that's more powerful and convincing than complicated logic can be.
That reminds me of something Law said, about how talking too much doesn't put food in people's stomachs.
That sounds like Law. But it's true nonetheless. When you get down to it, all you really need is enough food to keep you full and to be surrounded by people you love. Everything else comes second.
Speaking of people you love, I haven't heard you talk about Miguel much lately.
Wow, okay. Way to make me feel like the worst sister ever. But you're right, I haven't. If I'm honest, I think it's because I finally found other people I love just as much. Whatever kind of society we end up having after this, it needs to be a place where I know you all can be happy. That's my starting point for now. Don't worry. Once I finish folding these clothes, I'll go to sleep.
Thing okay there, big guy? You look kind of pissed.
I'll say. He looks like he wants to bite the head off something.
What's eating at you? Come on, Alphen. You're gonna bring us all down if you keep that ferocious scowl on.
Oh, sorry. Do I really look that ticked off?
Yeah, it kinda makes you hard to talk to. So, what's bothering you?
It's a pebble.
A pebble?
Snuck its way into the back of my boot. I can't seem to get rid of it.
Oh, I totally get you. Weird how much it can get on your nerves, huh?
Yeah, it's barely bigger than a grain of sand. So how come it feels like I'm walking around on hot nails?
You know, maybe this is a crazy solution, but you could just take your boot off and give it a shake.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, of course. You're right. Phew. It's like I've been given a new lease on life. Thanks for the tip, Shion.
Seemed kind of obvious, but you're welcome. That's the trouble with windy places. All that fine debris ends up getting into your hair and clothes.
Alphen, is it just me, or have you become extra sensitive ever since getting your sense of pain back?
Now that you mention it, the other night at camp, there was a fly buzzing around that annoyed him so much, he unsheathed the blazing sword.
So much for sensitive. That's just being a Mr. Cranky Pants.
Nothing new on that front, then.
What's the matter, Alphen? You look a little tense.
Alright. I finished all the necessary preparing. I have also activated the last fast travel. Just, so nice, because to do that I had to fight monsters that are in here. They're just normal monsters, so I didn't record them. But, oh my god. Now let's do this.
A dead end, huh?
Why don't we just use this?
Wait!
Jeez! Don't scare me like that! What, is there something wrong with it?
No, it's not that. It's just... this is it. Whatever it is, we're about to find out.
It's the moment of truth. There's no turning back now till we've won. Either we get through this, or we vanish along with the rest of the world as we know it. Is everyone ready?
We've come this far. I'm not about to turn tail now. I say we knock this thing out and head back home.
It's time to relegate the past to where it belongs. It's been a long journey getting here, but it ends now.
No, this isn't the end. Once we've overthrown the old order, there's still the task of creating a new world.
A world without divisions, where no one cares whether you're Danon or Renan, or if you have magic or not. You're right. We have to win this.
Let's get going then. After all, our future awaits.
Our future. One free of tyranny and exploitation. For the freedom to live with those we hold dear. And for a new era. Let's go!
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.